Yasodhanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khand Radha Khand Giri Govardhan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai, Jamuna Mai ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki Jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki Jai, all glories to their Summit. All glories to their Summit. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace PANCAGAUDA PRABHU, our beloved uncle and great uncle to some of us. And all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. Devotees, we thank you for being here. Today is Wednesday, the 13th day of August 2025. And it is an honor again to have His Grace here speaking with us from the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for being here, as always.
Thank you. I'm back in Vrindavan, by the way.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I've been back for a few weeks.
Oh, Prabhuji, so please kindly sprinkle the holy dust on our wretched heads. So,
There's definitely a lot of dust floating around.
Yes. I hope the cats go on a parikram, so the dust from the lotus hooves of the cows may get on our heads, and somehow we get to remain servants of the Lord, even if we are not appropriately serving the Lord. It's still better to be a useless servant than being anybody else. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think we have two verses today. So we may put the verses on the screen and then you take it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11, Text 36. Tasyaiva kante kalpa bud yang padmam adichakshate yad dar nabi sarasam asya loka saroruham. The millennium, which followed the first Brahma millennium, is known as the Padmakalpa because in that millennium, the universal lotus flower grew out of the navel reservoir of water of the personality of Godhead Hari. The millennium following the Brahmakalpa is known as the Padmakalpa because the universal lotus grows in that millennium. The Padmakalpa is also called the Pitrakalpa in certain Puranas. Ayang tu katita kalpo dvitiyas yapi bharatam viraha iti vikyato yadraschach chukaro hari. Should we do the word for word? Let's see the translation here. O descendant of Bharat, the first millennium in the second half of the life of Brahma is also known as the Varaha millennium because the personality of God had appeared in that millennium as the hog incarnation. The different millenniums known as the Brahma, Padma, and Varaha kalpas appear a little puzzling for the layman. There are some scholars who think these kalpas to be one and the same. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the Brahma kalpa in the beginning of the first half appears to be the Padma kalpa. We can, however, simply abide by the text and understand that the present millennium is in the second half of the duration of the life of Brahma. Good. Om Jnanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, got some very interesting verses. I was amazed to see how Vidura and Maitreya are discussing all the details of the not only the creation and manifestation from Karanadakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu to Garbhodakshay Vishnu, each universe, and then Kshirodakshay Vishnu with details of the atoms and the time factor and all the different ingredients which make up the universe. And it's amazing, very detailed subject matter described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I would say it's a little bit beyond the comprehension of most to try to understand the intricacies of how the Lord is manifested within this world, how he provides and makes everything so real that we have a certain covering of Aratmika, there's a certain covering on the living entity that when we hear about the Lord appearing in the Varaha form and taking the earth, which is submerged in the Garbhodaka ocean, and fighting with such great demons as Haranyaksha, later as with Hiranyakashipu. There's a new movie just came out, Avatar, about Lord Nrsimhadev, and the general tendency is to categorize everything, that this is just mythology. These are just stories, entertainment, somebody's wild imagination. But if we put aside the idea that this was just conjured up by someone and really steadily hear the Bhagavatam from the beginning, Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, I mean, the very first verse, Janmadhyasya yaton bhayaditratashchateshu bhigyaswarat, how everything is emanating from the Lord, and how people, demigods included, human beings, are illusioned by the potencies of this world. And that illusion is there to facilitate our independent spirit, that we've somehow given up our loving service attitude. You may think that, well, in the spiritual world, everything is perfect, so how that can happen? Because of the minute independence, he's incredibly powerful, eternal personality that manifests the spiritual world and also the different relationships and rasas that he has with each and every living entity, that's an expansion of his very self. We just had Lord Balaram's appearance day, so that's Krishna. First expansion is Balaram. He's also expanding as Srimati Radharani. He's also expanding as all the different incarnations. Matter of fact, is every living entity, but such power he has that he gives individuality to his own manifestations of himself. So although that little drop of water is nothing in comparison to the great ocean, but it does have all the same qualities, and it is part of the ocean, it is one with the ocean, but it maintains its individuality. There may be many philosophers and philosophies which are describing that the Lord is also conditioned when he appears in this world, or so many different angles of vision, that once we achieve liberation, then we no longer have any identity, or just are always in a bliss, like that one bubble that emerges into the ocean, becomes part of the ocean. But we are very, very fortunate to have a human form of life at this time in the age of Kali Yuga, the second half of Lord Brahma's lifespan. But it's so huge. We have that Lord Brahma's one day is beyond our mathematical calculations, our comprehension of understanding. How is it that there's such activities going on in the higher planetary systems? But the whole structure of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, we come in this world to be independent enjoyers, and animals and other living beings, there's 8,400,000 species of life, and only 400,000 varieties of human form of life, and very few are civilized and have enough intelligence to question, who am I? Why am I suffering in this material world? And what is the true nature of myself? Because this covering potency of the Lord, this Daivi Hesha Guna Mayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mame Vaye Prapajante Mayame Tang Tarantite, this divine energy is difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders to the Supreme Lord can easily cross beyond it. And that what Srila Prabhupada, being empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and a messenger of the six Goswamis, the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada, carrying the tradition of parampara, the Guru parampara, the clarity, and also not compromising in any capacity. And very satisfying to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and hear Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Vaishnava literature. There's abundant literature, but in our family, our Krishna consciousness family, we are recognizing and glorifying with gratitude Srila Prabhupada for undergoing a great sacrifice, not only a learned scholar, pure devotee, and just such depth. These Bhaktivedanta purports, and especially in their, I mean, every canto, I can't say first, second, third, fourth. There's so much intricacy and so much description and of how Brahma was created on the lotus, and he was trying to find out what is the source of my creation, go and then performing great tapasya, meditation, sacrifice. And the Lord manifested himself before Lord Brahma, showed him the spiritual world, and it reassured him that, that you are empowered to again create. So this creation is taking place millennia, again and again and again. And we may do further and further scientific research. There are certain personalities who are taking great happiness and pleasure to understand the minute scientific details of every aspect of the creation, and how we're conditioned and why we're conditioned. And but I feel very happy that to have such a wonderful teacher and guide and spiritual master that can give us the absolute truth, because we have a fault-finding mentality, we have imperfect senses, we make mistakes, and we're illusioned. It's like to err is human. So as human beings, we want to sometimes find fault so we can justify our independent spirit. There's no rules and regulations. Yeah, I got to follow the rules and regulations of the city I live in, or otherwise the police force may put me behind bars. But there's a higher police, there's a higher divine nature. As you sow, so you shall reap. Yang vapi smaran bhavam tajat yante kalevaram. Whatever state of being one has at the time of death, that state he'll attain without fail. So hearing, becoming, how you say, addicted to hearing, just like people become addicted to intoxicants, maybe addicted to sense gratification. So by this process, which is recommended, Shravanam Kirtanam, by hearing in the association of devotees, we always think, well, how do I best utilize my time? So all of you are making some sacrifice here to come online and to hear something, Srimad Bhagavatam, some glorification of Krishna, his unlimited potencies and powers of developing this world, this prison house for all of us, so that we can go through a multitude of experiences, and there's happiness, there's distress, there's pious activities which may elevate us to the higher planetary systems where our life duration is so much longer, like the demigods go to Brahmaloka, live a really long lifetime, and happiness. We think, well, that's pretty good, we can do that. But ultimately, a devotee, he's not looking for going to higher planets, lower planets. He wants to have a attachment to devotional service. He wants to become addicted to hearing about Krishna and takes pleasure in glorifying Krishna. And it's not to be done alone. Actually, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always surrounded by his devotees, and they were all chanting and dancing and participating in the Sankirtan Yajna, because sacrifice is performed in different ages, in different recommended procedures of meditation, controlling the mind, controlling the senses, the breathing, and by calming everything. It's like when the water is calm, you can see it transparently, very crystal clear. So the consciousness is foggy, it's covered by passion, lust, anger, greed. And by that covering, we can't see our true self. We can't see our eternal existence. And we're controlled by time. The time factor is taking everyone's life, the sun rising. And it's just amazing how I sometimes would take trips to the Himalayas in the mountains. And at night, if you look at the stars, so brilliant, so many. And you see some movement taking place up there, and people are very much intrigued and fascinated by UFOs. Oh, there's spaceship, there's people from other planets. Yes, there's living entities everywhere, and we're on the tiny, tiny little Earth in our tiny little life, and people, karmis, those who are not interested in spiritual life, they spend all their time and their energy working really hard to take care of wife, family, children, necessities, making money so that we can be happy in this life, in this world. But this life that we're encaged in these bodies, and the body is simply what's happening with the body. It's just starting to get old, and again, losing its capacity to function in a healthy capacity. So everyone's working hard and taking so many pills and medicines and going to see the doctors and eyeglasses and hearing aids and false teeth and false knees and joints, and let us carry on, if we don't have the proper working organs for this machinery. We'll get organs from other places, heart replacement, liver replacement, this and that. Let's prolong this life as long as we can. Maybe even so, instead of living 70, 80 years, I'll live 90 years. But what kind of existence is that? So there's no solution to this samsara, this cycle of birth and death. And unless we hear it daily, unless we hear the Bhagavatam daily, and unless we keep the association of devotees and make a sacrifice, if we can, to come and participate, see the deities, perform some devotional service. Don't try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Krishna will see you. And by my activities, am I making Krishna happy? Am I pleasing Krishna? Because without pleasing Krishna, and by pleasing Guru, we're not going to jump to Krishna. And Krishna's representative, the spiritual master. But a genuine Guru repeats Krishna. He repeats the teaching of the parampara. And we hear it daily. We're not the material body, we're spirit soul. But due to material entanglement and desires to be happy and enjoy and love, we repose our love, to our family members, to our country, to our nation, to our dog and cats. We want to be this loving nature doesn't go away. We have a loving relationship with Krishna. It's in our heart, but it's covered over. And Krishna's giving us the formula. He quoted a couple of times in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mame vasisi satyate pratijani priyosame. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your prayers and homage unto me. Thus you'll come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. How is it we can be a friend of the Supreme Lord? He's very loving, very compassionate. Any parent has a love, the tiger, the bear, the dogs and cats, human beings. They love their children. Mother's love for a child is the closest to understanding of, pure love without wanting something in reciprocation. Generally, people work because they get a paycheck, not that they love their boss. If there's no paycheck coming, then they may not work anymore. So to surrender to Krishna means to get freed from all sinful reaction that we've accumulated over the billions and trillions of years. Brahmanda Brahmite, Kanya Bhagavan, Jeev, Guru, Krishna, Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij, wandering throughout the universe, many different forms of life. We may believe it or not believe it, that's okay. We have Shraddha, some faith, but that's the first thing. Faith, isn't it? Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajanakriya, Anartha Nivriti. So with some faith, we associate with devotees. Okay, let me hear something. Okay, let me read. Let me chant. Let me, stay in the association of devotees, render some service. Then Anartha Nivriti, then all the bad habits and qualities which we've accumulated over the years, they get cleansed. This Cheto Darpana Marjanam, this cleansing process takes place. We may not understand fully about the first part of Lord Brahma's life or second part, or Lord Varaha appeared, and there's two different appearances, and the many intricate incarnations. There's unlimited incarnations of the Lord. There's unlimited glories of the Lord. They say Ananta Shesha, with its thousands of hoods, has been glorifying the Lord since time immemorial and still has not reached the end of his glories. So it's not easy to understand how everything is functioning and what is our true relationship with the Lord. But that comes and with maturity, as jnana vairagya, by cultivating knowledge. And how do we cultivate knowledge? Just hear it, just read it with attention, enthusiasm, and be in a mood of developing the godly qualities. And not that, how can I develop godly qualities? By chanting Krishna's name, by hearing about Krishna, we become more introspective. We see how we interact with devotees, how our anger, how our greed, or envy, or lust, and just make a conscientious mental adjustment that you want to be loving and friendly. When you see pictures of a saintly person or Lord Jesus, you see all the birds and the animals, and everybody's attracted. Everyone feels fully protected. They have no fear. And there's a loving exchange and relationship. So we're not artificially trying to develop the godly qualities. They're also inherent within each and every one of us. The godly qualities of the demigods are there, and they become manifest by incessant hearing and chanting. So we have to mold our lives in such a way from early morning that we have a routine schedule. What is night for the materialist? When they take rest, the introspective sage is awakening. You can wake up early in the morning because those morning hours are very, very conducive to spiritual development, especially Brahma Muhurta. But imagine having 3, 4, 5, 6 hours before anything's happening and out there in the passionate world of people running here and there, driving here and there, only thinking how to make more money, how to get ahead. And every living being is in competition to try to make a suitable, acceptable lifestyle for himself and his family. And if he's not sufficiently capable of doing that, then people disregard and think, oh, what a useless person. He can't even take care of his family. He's in a poor condition. Look at him. He doesn't. So a lot of this false ego, the ego is driving us in the hopes of happiness, looking for water in a desert where there is no water. And the real oasis is within inside. And by hearing and chanting, we awaken that spiritual, godly qualities. So we should take advantage, whether it's adjusting our family life or work schedules or whatever it takes to increase the hearing and chanting. But one who doesn't have a taste for hearing and chanting, or maybe is just doing it superficially because, yeah, I believe, but at the same time, I have many other responsibilities and things to do. And we do have other responsibilities. I think in my last class I was mentioning I was in Florida and I had to 3 times go up to Canada because my mother was passing away, and she passed away, and we have duties and responsibilities of family, to the demigods, to the Vedic knowledge, to society in general. But by serving Krishna and by trying to perform our service to Srila Prabhupada and the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because what is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness? It's composed of many types of members, but there are those who are serious about hearing and chanting and developing and spreading Krishna consciousness. And then there are those on the sidelines who want to see faults with everybody who's not doing it according to their standard. There's faults everywhere. Every religious organization has faults, and there are cheating personalities, but there's true, genuine Krishna consciousness in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. When we were having court cases in New York, and there was a lot of deprogrammers trying to break devotees' spirit of devotion and force them into their, eating meat, intoxication, and taking money from the parents so they can kidnap the devotees. Big court case. And Prabhupada emphasized, have the judge read the books. Just have him read the books. This is our defense, the books. And the judge gave a beautiful explanation of how this is a bona fide religion and a very solid philosophy, based on the Vedic literature, which is the oldest teachings in the world. So when you look at all the facts and figures, logic and reason, nobody wants to blindly follow anything. We all want to have a good explanation for doing what we're doing. And that's being explained. It's being explained very beautifully. So take rest early, get up early. And we can't emphasize enough the regulation. Rupa Goswami, such a great philosopher, and we're Rupa Nugas, we're Prabhupada Nugas, we're Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And despite the fact that they're erudite scholars and can describe the rasa of Krishna in a very eloquent way, he's speaking about controlling the mind, controlling the senses, following the rules and regulations, learning how to, dadati pratigranati guyamakyati prichati, how to have loving exchanges with devotees, revealing one's minds, hearing confidentially, offering gifts, receiving gifts, offering prasad, receiving prasad. And what to speak of the details of offenses against deity worship, and also what are the qualities of a saintly person? Titikshava karunika suhrida sarvadehanam. He's very tolerant, very merciful, kind to all living beings. He's ready to offer respects to others without expectation of being glorified. He's very meek and humble. It may be a challenge to come to that level of Krishna consciousness because of long time conditioning in this world. But Lord Chaitanya is very kind. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratashe Namaha. He's very kind, giving love of God, the highest perfection of spiritual life, in such a simple way. Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalu Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. Only by chanting Krishna's holy name, we can always remember Krishna, never forget him, by chanting Krishna's name. Srila Prabhupada would see the sorry condition of Kali Yuga, and tears would come to his eyes, and he would chant Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalam. And we may not know the potency of the mantra or the holy name of the Lord, that the Lord's name is non-different than Krishna. We may not have the taste, wanting to have millions of tongues and millions of ears, but that time will come, and spontaneously you'll be attracted to Krishna. Not just, okay, sadhana bhakti, that's elementary. I want to go to the Raganuga bhakti, spontaneous love. And yes, it matures. It's like you have a mango. It's a green mango. It's hard and green. But if you cultivate it and take care of it, it ripens, it gets juicy and sweet, still a mango. So we're Jivera Swarupoy Krishna Nitya Das, Ekale Ishwar Krishna Arsa Britya. Krishna is the only supreme master. We're all servants. You know, we identify temporarily with this lifetime and this family, this nation, this body, that body. But that we've existed before this lifetime, we're existing now, we'll continue to exist in the future. So what we do in this human form of life, with the direction of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, and Srila Prabhupada, will make a big difference of where we're going to end up after we're forced to leave this body. So devotee becomes fearless. Of course, we're fearful of material nature, because material nature, we don't know when we're, whether you're young or old, you could leave the body at any time. Anybody can die. So let us stay fixed and focused on Krishna. And the more we can understand about the wonderful creation and just the curiousness of when Parikshit Maharaj would ask certain questions, Shukadeva Goswami says, "Oh, you're asking all the perfect questions which are beneficial for all of humanity. Just by your enthusiasm to hear about Krishna, you're achieving perfection." And even after reading chapters and chapters, at the end of the chapter says, anyone who hears this narration about the glories of Krishna and about his killing this demon or performing wonderful activities, saving the devotees, he'll definitely awaken his Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Krishna, reestablish our forgetful link with Krishna. So let's do that. We should definitely tighten up more and more, always better ourselves. One time one devotee was saying, "Prabhupada, I feel that my service, I'm not really doing it in a nice way." He said, it's good mentality that we're always trying to better ourselves. Never think that, oh, I'm such an expert server of the Lord. I'm a great pujari and I'm just a great book distributor. I'm just a great person. We all have shortcomings, and we have to think how I can increase my devotional service for my faith in Krishna and my faith in Guru, and do something for the society to help spread this. Lord Chaitanya is ordering us. Jare dako tare kaho Krishna upadesh, amara gai guru hoy tare desh. Become a guru, meaning that set the example and tell everyone that you meet about Krishna. And the more we do that, then our strength builds and we stay healthy in a spiritual way. So those are some of the thoughts I had. I wasn't really sure how to attack, or not attack, but how to describe the verses in particular that we had. They were quite interesting, and I'm sure there could be some questions or maybe a little discussion if necessary. So thank you again, Sahadev, for inviting me. I actually today had like 3 classes. Had the morning Hindi class, translated, of course. I speak a little Hindi, and then another online class. But that's good. It's good for us to be challenged so that we can try to we can pray for Krishna's mercy to give us the intelligence. When Dhruva Maharaj performed his austerities and received the divine darshan of Krishna, he was bewildered as a child. He didn't know what to say, how to say, and Krishna, out of kindness, touched his head with his conch shell and enlightened him on the absolute truth. And then he manifested beautiful words to glorify the Lord. So we can't on our own, but Krishna, if he sees that we're really genuinely want to be with Krishna and love Krishna and serve him, he gives us the intelligence by which we can accomplish that. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Of course, as always, sharing this deep wisdom with us. And they are a thread of wisdom that if we try to imbibe, then we're most likely going to see Krishna in this lifetime. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, reflections, comments, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Prabhuji, in fact, as we are somehow being exposed to this, there is no way to imagine that there is such a life somewhere that Lord Brahma's one day, 12 hours is 311 trillion, 40 billion of our earthly years. And that is just his 12 hours. And he lives 24 hours, 30 days, 12 months, and then 100 years. And all these are just one exhalation of Mahavishnu. Now, my question then is Krishna not always already here on this earth? Because if we assume this calculation, not assuming that is what it is, if we have this calculation, and then there is this description of Mother Earth going to Lord Brahma with some of the great sages and the devas going to pray to Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu says is coming. I just don't understand than to accept or believe that Krishna is already here, and when he wants to manifest himself, he manifests, and then we consider that he has descended from somewhere to come here. I don't know if you may throw some light to my bewildering question. It's very bewildering to me, Prabhuji.
Yes, Krishna is always testing our faith. Because he says that he's everything's in him, but he's not in everything. He manifests everything, although nothing exists without Krishna. And sometimes, when you're reading, when I'm reading that I know that when Krishna's getting married to the different queens, and some of the dowries, when they're giving hundreds of thousands of horses and different, with jewelry and cows with silver and 10 times more chariots and 10 times more infantry, and and also the emperor, he has so many servants, and so it may be difficult to comprehend. I always think of that story of Narada Muni after visiting the Lord in Vaikuntha, coming back to meet the Brahmana and the cobbler. And the Lord told Narada Muni, just tell him, if they ask what I was doing, put an elephant through the eye of a needle. Oh. And so when Narada Muni was asked by this Paka Brahmana, oh, when am I going to have my deliverance? And he said, oh, it'll take some time. Okay, and what was the Lord doing? And he's putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. Oh, Narada, you're always joking, telling so many stories, how I can believe these kind of things. But when he told that to the cobbler, he just accepted it that, yes, I see this one banyan tree and it has so many fruits, and each fruit has so many seeds, and each seeds can produce another banyan tree. It's just the Lord just totally amazing. So we may not know the intricacies. The Lord is present, but then he appears for the pleasure of his devotees in reestablishing religious principles. He allows things to function the way they function in the material world because this is our prison house. We wanted to execute our independent spirit in order to create that atmosphere. Mahavishnu creates, and then Garbhodakshay Vishnu creates Brahma, and Brahma is empowered to create the world. And Kshirodakshay Vishnu, he's the source of incarnations and protection of the devotees, but also there's going to be the demonic forces which cause agony and suffering. I mean, just think of Jai and Vijay coming as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, and the amount of torture and torment that Kamsa and his people did to all the Vaishnavas, and what to speak of the general mass of people. And we see it even in our time, how much people are suffering and why the Lord is allowing that. Because these are no one's going to be killed. Ultimately, we're all eternal living beings. We're temporarily encaged, embodied in these bodies, and due to our desires, there's karma, there's suffering, and there's happiness. And I mean, how can you believe also the story of King Nriga? He gave so many cows in charity, more than there's snow particles or sand particles. I mean, who can imagine? And they're all totally ornamented with gold and jewelry and silver. And because of one little mistake, he had to come as a lizard and be liberated by the Lord. And many things just do not fit or compute in our tiny little brains. So there may be some things which bewilder us, but I always see it that the Lord is testing our faith, that he can do anything and everything. And it depends on the angle of vision in which we're seeing that particular challenge in our intelligence, or we may not be really seeing it in the proper perspective. Sometimes there's optical illusions. You think something is, oh, but if you look at it carefully, then you think, oh, it's totally different from what I thought it was. So anyway, this is just some ideas of my explanation. It may have not been directly to what you questioned.
I think it does, because you also kind of alluded to the fact that Krishna is ever present here. Because I'm just imagining in my little mind, if Brahma has this lifespan, Mahavishnu has this lifespan, which is inhalation, exhalation, and then Krishna has to appear in this world once in the day of Lord Brahma. He's already here. To me, that's how I see it. But
He's in the heart of every living entity. He's in every atom.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
he's here. But that I'm saying we have to see it in a different perspective. Like you say, the government is all pervasive.
mm,
The president of the country is all pervasive by the authority of his government. But he sometimes appears personally, although he's already there, he also appears personally because under the power of Krishna, under the authority of Krishna, and with Krishna's manifestation of power, everything is manifest and everything, nothing moves, not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of Krishna. And Krishna's in our heart, and he's seeing and maneuvering. Everything's happening like an automatic pilot. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shriyate. Krishna doesn't have to get out there and do it. He can make it manifest. But at the same time, he won't interfere with our minute independence. And because that non-interference with minute independence, it appears that there's no controller, there's no one in charge. Things are just happening by nature. And that's just religion is just a crutch or a handicap where people just want to use that as an escape. But I feel that we've come across the genuine, bona fide uh, process, and whatever doubts and whatever, how you say, feelings of confusion that may be there will be cleared up very in due course of time, and we'll have a deep realization and understanding of Krishna's presence.
yeah. Oh, Krishna. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I was, see, Prabhuji, we want to sincerely offer our condolences to you for losing your mom. We all know that this situation will happen, death will come. Even though we know it's going to come, but when it does come, it's so painful. I don't think there is anything as painful as death in this world. Now, this is where sometimes some of us and lots of people, of course, we cannot understand Krishna, but we do not really understand Krishna. Krishna was telling Arjuna that at all cost, be a yogi. We see that lots of the times, those who practice yoga, they go into the forest and they do exercises, meditation. The way they respond to situations are quite different from the way devotees, Vaishnava devotees, preaching to people react to situations. Lots of the time when the yogis have a loss of life amongst them, it happened, but they really don't care much, like crying and mourning. But we see, even when Arjuna killed all these soldiers, he was mourning for them. Yudhishthira, the most intelligent being, he was mourning for them. Lord Chaitanya himself was mourning for the disappearance of Haridas Thakur. So my question then is, who is doing the right thing? Those of us who mourn after a loved one gone, and those who are yogis, and they don't really give no much mind to losing this or losing that, because to them, everything is the same. Who is right?
Yeah. Well, reading Bhagavatam, it describes that one who's advancing in spiritual life, he's not so encumbered or attached to family, wife, children, nation, anything in the bodily platform. Just like Arjuna was totally upset that he had to disrupt his family and fight with what. And Krishna was trying to explain that we have to do our religious duties. But at the same time, on a spiritual level, as you said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed great love for his mother, great love for his devotees. When Haridas Thakur passed away, personally carried him and performed the ceremonies. So to be having emotion for loved ones is not a bad thing, it's a good thing, but it's not a false attachment. It's, appreciation on a spiritual platform is what we're trying. Just like when we say Jayani Lo Prema Dana, when the devotee for a departed Vaishnava, he feeling great heartache and want to smash his head because of feelings of separation. But that separation is on a spiritual level, because what appears to be mundane activity that, well, we're cooking rice, dal, and chapatis, and you guys are cooking rice, dal, and chapatis. What's the difference, Difference is for Krishna. It's being offered to Krishna and being reciprocated. I'm working, but I'm giving the fruits to Krishna. Although you're working, you're just using it for sense gratification. So we're not here to judge, but it appears as though similar in nature, but it's on a different level, because we're reciprocating with and resonating with others because they're also serving Krishna and they're also striving for bhakti and hearing and glorifying Krishna. And so naturally, we want to hear about Krishna, and if someone is speaking ill of Krishna or his devotees, you run away, or you cannot in any way tolerate such a thing, because it's all part of the Krishna family. So I would say it's similar in nature, but if it's not connected to Krishna, it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, I asked this particular question, for two reasons. One, because somehow you lost your biological mother. And when I lost my Gurudev, of course, physically speaking, there was one devotee who was kind of questioning what our understanding of Krishna consciousness is, because we lost our guru and we are grieving. So this became kind of unfortunate back and forth exchanges. But thank you for the response, because we do not want our hearts to become like stone, where we have no feelings, we have no emotions. So
No.
yeah, thank you for the explanation. It was a very, very difficult time, that time. Just imagine you lose your guru and someone comes to you kind of chastising you that all these years you've never been a devotee. Why are you mourning for disappearing guru? Well, that is why we need to hear Srimad Bhagavatam more and more. Madhavan Prabhu, please, you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Is
Krishna.
it Madhavan?
Yes,
Hare
Madhavan
Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hare Krishna Prabhu. All grace, Orthodox speak. We quietly appreciate your lecture today. Setting time aside for us, we fully appreciate you. Thank you very much. Just about Prabhu Sahadev question about mourning or lamentation after death. I think in Gita, Krishna said we should never lament for the living or the dead. So, in my opinion, both people that are mourning and those who appear indifferent, they are both right. For instance, in a situation where people are mourning, we have to mourn along with them or even try to console them. But in actual fact, you know that person living in his body is still alive somewhere. So, but with that knowledge, you don't have to look indifferent, because if people are mourning, you have to join them. Otherwise, it appears something else. But within ourselves, we know the fact, what is really happening. If we within ourselves, being devoted, we know that the living entity is eternal, and if person has lived a false life, then he's going to live a better life afterwards. Just like one singer was saying, he said, I think it's Peter Todd. He said everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. We want to go to the spiritual world, but we don't. So that's just my only little contribution, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have to see that even Krishna, when he heard that Satyajit was killed, his wife's father, Balaram and Krishna, they played the role of mourning the loss of a family member. And so there are parallel experiences. People think, well, we're lamenting for the loss of our loved ones, and you're also same thing, even though the yogis are describing you're not the body and you should not be attached, and not, how you say, one should not lament for the living or the dead. But at the same time, if one is a Vaishnav, or one who's dedicated to serving Krishna, and or was instrumental in the form of mother and father to give you the body so that you can serve Krishna, we do have obligations. We do have responsibilities. As Prabhupada has asked, how do you recognize a devotee or a Vaishnava? He's a perfect gentleman. So a perfect gentleman would offer condolences, would offer, feelings of emotional feelings of support to someone who's lost a loved one. And devotees are maybe even more attached, like when we lost Prabhupada, is difficult time, or anyone loses a guru or a loved one who's also serving. So there are similarities for sure, but if it's connected to Krishna, then it has a different, meaning ultimately.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Anyone, of course, Prabhuji is in India, in the Holy Dham. So we're also conscious of the time. But does anyone have something to ask or to share? It's very interesting, Prabhuji, because we studied this, but I never ever remembered that we studied this, but we did, because we're studying the Srimad Bhagavatam chronologically. And in, let me see if I can share this. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10. That is the last chapter of Chapter 2, Canto 2. Srila Prabhupada gives us the names of the 30 days of Lord Brahma, 2:10:46. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives, therefore, the 30 kalpas of Brahma are Sweta Kalpa, Nila Lohita, all the way to Paitri Kalpa. And it's very interesting that Lord Brahma's days are named to be 30, whereas ours on this earth is only named to be 7. Because I'm wondering if we had like 30 names making each day in a month, if we could remember them all. So I just put this up there in case anyone may want to know the names, because Srila Prabhupada mentioned 3 or 4 of the names of Lord Brahma, but it's here 2:10:46. Okay, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, oh, so no, okay, Madhuvan, this is your previous hand raised, right? I think this is the previous hand raised. Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Do you have any concluding remark before we bring this to a final close?
His hands back up. Hands up.
Madhuvan, okay. You may unmute.
It's my previous and my raised up.
Oh, oh, sorry then. Yeah, Prabhuji, any concluding remark, if you may?
I just feel very fortunate to have, had a chance to meet Prabhupada and be participant. It's just amazing how you can think of all the time. We're talking about Brahma's time, but okay, even in our own time, if we were born, like say 20 years earlier, may have missed Lord Chaitanya's mission because maybe the timing was not right. So we should all feel with gratitude that we're sitting on a really golden opportunity, because Prabhupada is still here with us, and Prabhupada's close followers are still with us, and the philosophy is intact. Prabhupada's lectures are there. So we should try to increase our good fortune by taking advantage of the treasure house. Otherwise, if we take it for granted and time passes and we don't utilize our time for serving Krishna and trying to work on ourselves, then it's a great loss, big loss. So that's why I don't know, I feel happy to be in Vrindavan. It's a lot of challenges, obviously. Some challenges are always there, managerial, and we have big projects going on, festival after festival, like deity worship, and the amount, the Julan Yatra this year was out of the world. Every day was a whole new display of incredible art, craftsmanship, and the amount of prasad that's being distributed on a daily basis. So, jump into it. We need to jump into it. Can't sit on the sidelines and just watch the parade go by, and because otherwise we'll feel that I should have participated more. So my words is, try to participate more. Krishna will give you opportunity, intelligence, how to position yourself in such a way that you can do something, and it doesn't have to be, that makes him be a big guru or anything like that, or or temple president of Vrindavan. Okay, I don't know how I get myself into this one, but the point is, Krishna's appreciating, Lord Ramachandra appreciated the small endeavor, not only of Hanuman and the great, powerful monkeys, but also the small animals who are trying to participate and help in his mission. So Krishna sees everyone equally. He just make the endeavor, and Krishna will take down the hurdles, and he'll open those rusted locked gates that are keeping us from moving forward. And pray to Krishna, let me somehow develop a taste for hearing this Bhagavatam and the association of devotees. It's really important. Anyway, I hope that's of some value.
Oh, always, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. we can't thank you in particular enough. And we can't thank the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada enough, because we know there is creation, maintenance, and dissolution, annihilation. And maintenance, annihilation, as difficult as they are nowhere close to maintenance. And Srila Prabhupada created this beautiful house in which the whole world can live peacefully. But it is you, the direct disciples, who, after imbibing the training and the discipline given to you by Srila Prabhupada, you maintaining and passing it on. So to us, as second, third, fourth, fifth generation, we cannot sufficiently thank you all, the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada, holding on to this teaching and spreading it. And we only can hope and pray, like you said, we do not want to sit on the fence, we want to join the parade and also do our part, just as you are doing, so that others who may be less fortunate may also have access to this amazing opportunity. So
one thing more, Srila Prabhupada,
to you all.
one thing more, Srila Prabhupada, he expresses gratitude and thanks to the devotees. He said, my Guru Maharaj has sent all of you to help me in this mission. So it's not that we're only appreciating the Acharyas and the God, Prabhupada's direct disciples, but anybody who's participating in helping Prabhupada was full of gratitude. So we should never think that, oh, I'm too distant, I'm too far away from the source. No, you're just as well connected, because Prabhupada does appreciate everybody's endeavors.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And we pray for this grid. Like you said today, this is like your third speaking of the scriptures today, which is amazing. Well, devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered uncle, His Grace, Sri PANCAGAUDA Prabhu, great uncle to some of us, for always being here and sharing his love and wisdom with us all. Please, you may all unmute. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhudevaccha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to His Grace Panchagauda Prabhu ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All assembled Vaishnava devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.